stay in his driver fault. Liability coverage. With this machine I'm blaming, his whole team live panic. Jack froze up and then died. Now you seen Titanic?
Bow to the neck. I mute this audio. Your youngest son, bow to the chest. Reduce his cardio, then bow to take your princess from you. Super Mario,
Basically, I'm coming at him. He's strapped in, I smash in. Both his hands with a hammer. I ain't gonna use his strapped in.
Hello. Welcome back to the Speaker Our Language Show. Today we have another interview, only our second interview with none other than Loso. Loso, how you feeling?
I'm doing well, man. It's a pleasure. It's an honor, bro. You're one of the most brilliant minds within the battle rap fan base, bro.
Thank you.
Once you reached out to me, bro, it's a no-brainer. Let's do this, man.
Yeah, man. Small snippet. I actually had the privilege of meeting Loso twice. I don't know if you remember. It's the first time I met him at Nome 11. He had the Lakers jersey or whatever. I walked up to him right before his Jerry West battle, which he had a really good performance. Also got to see him hoop with the guys, and he kind of showed me that he's one of the few battlers that can actually hoop or whatever.
Oh, you went out that?
Yeah. I was there. Yeah. So it showed me that he's one of the few guys that can actually hoop or whatever. So I got much respect for his sports bars compared to other people's sports bars. But yeah, man, let's kick it off like this, man. When I think of Loso, you know what I'm saying, I think of a battler that is well versed in a myriad of things, and I just wanted to ask, like, what inspired your rap style? I know that, like, outside of battle rap, right, you're a huge J. Cole fan. You're from the South, so I feel like there's Southern influence in that regard or whatever. But what inspired your rap style as a battler?
Yeah, man. So growing up, I was just really like from the gate. I mean, obviously, it was weird. I grew up in the South, but there were rappers like Fabulous, Jay-Z, specifically Fabulous. I remember Fabulous and Jadakiss. I just was like so intrigued by punchlines,
right?
And,
the wittiness,
delivery, right?
Yeah.
And even like I remember, Fab just sounded like real cool, and I just remember wanting to sound like that as well whenever I rap. Now the thing about it though is that because I was in the South. There were just different styles. I remember listening to rap and saying to myself, yo, the cool guys are in the North and they're probably more popular at the time, but the Southern guys, to me, they were doing things with words that I hadn't seen anybody. So I'm talking about Outkast, I'm talking about Ludacris, Andre, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about these guys that were like, and then Lil Wayne, for me, growing up in high school and outside of high school, he was like the number one guy in all of his mixtapes, and then he was heavy on punchlines. So it was Wayne and Fabulous for me. And so, however, though, it didn't just influence my style, but then at the end of high school, I got introduced to battle rap. I remember a guy just came and he had a CD of Jay Mills versus Murder Mook. So I didn't even see these guys.
Right.
I was just hearing them. I was hearing the whole battle on a CD. He would play it in the car, and I was captivated by it, bro. It was, to me at the time when I first heard it, it was like the purest form of hip hop I had ever been introduced to. And I was just like, yo, the delivery, like the enunciation,
the aggression.
One of the things that people constantly, I'm from Geechee to B-Dot, people constantly tell me, it's like, Los, like your delivery is like top notch, like almost like emphasis on every word. And I feel like almost subconsciously I do that because I remember the first time I was listening to rap, I was like, man, people are just so articulate. And I want to make sure that when I'm speaking, the 70-year-old white woman and the 16-year-old rapper from Atlanta, they both can understand me because I'm clear, I'm enunciating words, but I'm also delivering my content, the way it is. So, but I remember listening to that, bro, and it influenced me so much to kind of like learn more. So I'm on YouTube watching every single battle at this point, and then from there, it became such a passion that when I started doing open mics and I started like rapping more, what ends up happening now is my mannerisms are emulating these guys subconsciously because I'm just watching them all day. So I remember the first time I started, I did a poem everybody in there is just, you know, doing regular poetry, but I'm up there and I'm doing punchlines and these metaphors and stuff like that. And they were like, man, this is different. It's because Young Ill was the guy I was watching 24/7. I was watching Young Ill. So the way I was moving my hands, the way I would like know how to bring words up or not to bring. One thing Young Ill always did, he had it wasn't that he was just rapping.
It was like a inflection in each line of each word. Yeah.
People think like you have to sing in a key, right? When you're singing, but there's also a key to rapping too, because there's certain words that carry a certain tone. So Young Ill was able to do that, and I was studying that, and I was like, man, I was translating that in my poetry. Then I was doing like these little competitions here and there, and every time I would get off stage, they were like, yo, you remind us of a battle rapper. You should battle rap. And I was like, nah, I could never do what those guys do.
Right.
You know, come to fruition. So.
Yeah, that's fire. You know, me being someone that gets into poetry and understanding the parallels between what battlers utilize in terms of writtens and how it can translate to something else. That's amazing that you actually brought that up. So, and shout out to the guy that showed this, you know, that was playing Murder Mook and Jay Mills in the car, not even watching it. So that he's a diehard fan. He's not even watching the battle. He's listening to it. That's fire. I only know a few people that's like that. Yeah, so you know, with you getting into battling, right, you've had the privilege of battling across multiple leagues. I think people only think of like your URL stint in the past 3 years, but prior to that, you battled on Premier League, you battled on RBE, KOTD, Bullpen, obviously. What did you learn from battling across different leagues? I asked Sheila the same question just because I'm very interested to see like what are skills and tactics you figured out battling on other leagues.
Man, so before URL, I think I was one of the few battlers at the time that was battling on every major platform. So I was doing RBE, KOTD. Yep. I was doing the Premier joint, Bullpen. Bullpen was at the time, it was the number one league in the South. We were doing events all the time. Now,
absolutely,
we were doing events all the time. And so outside of URL, those were the top leagues. And so I was battling on all of them. I was battling on all of them before I made my decision to come and sign with URL. But so one of the things was with Bullpen, I was new, but I was already ahead of the curve as a rookie. Yeah. That everything I was doing was just successful. So like it was just working, bro. I was like, I tell people I was like McDonald's, and it's, if you take that however you want, like it was cheap stuff. Like for me, looking back and I'm watching it, and I was like, man, these setups are pretty bad. And McDonald's is like, yo, they're not healthy, but it's convenient, it's cheap, it's fast. You know what I'm saying? And what Loso was providing was like this new spark that it was like, yo, this Latino Christian from the South, like we never seen nothing like this, and he's new, so he's captivating, and he's winning these battles, and he's doing this, and he's getting his fan base, stuff like that, and he had this marketing look. And so the problem is that I thought I was better than what I was.
So you agree with some of the things that people were saying early on, because that was a huge critique on like
it was
on you early on.
It was, and you got to think about it when and success blinds people, bro. Success blinds people, and like I said, compared back to McDonald's, right? You look at the McDonald's sign, right? I mean, you could tell the guy who owns it, you'd be like, yo, this isn't good food. He's gonna look at you and point to the yellow arch, right? And say, look, it says 77 billion people that we serve a day. How are you gonna tell me it's not working? And that's what I was doing. I was like, yo, look at my verse tracker. Yo, I'm rookie of the year. I'm getting invited to perform here. I'm getting paid more than all these dudes. Like, it's working. But the problem it's like, yo, Los, are you getting better though? So my first introduction to me not being as good as I was when I went to KOTD. Now, all the polls had me beating Jims, but I probably should have like cleared him out. Here's the problem though. It wasn't the battle per se. It was the critique I was getting from the KOTD fan base. Now, the problem is that they were like, that fan base is predominantly white, right? But one thing I do appreciate from them is that they are accustomed to great writers out there.
And rapping, for sure.
Yes, great writers and great writers, right? So like the multis, like the setups, like they have to make sense. My problem is that I had a punch, and I would try to get to that angle, that punch, and my setups would be terrible. It wouldn't make sense sometimes. I would just be rapping just to say, like, I didn't care about the journey. I only wanted to get to the destination. And so when I was in KOTD and I was hearing that critique, shout out to Dunch. Dunch was one of the first
Shout out to Dunch, yeah.
that hated me, bro. And his critiques, I remember we used to go back and forth. I was like, bro, you suck. Like nobody knows you, yada yada.
Right.
And he used to just tell me like, yo, you're not good. But we're actually good friends now. Yeah. Around, but what the cool thing about it though is that critique actually pushed me to kind of like go back to the game tapes, and I was like, okay, what do I have to do? Maybe I got to slow this down. Maybe I got to like get better here. And so that was the first step. So battling on KOTD allowed me to do that. RBE, you know, I was put into a writer's, one of my first.
With Jay Murda? Was it Jay Murda?
Yeah. Exactly, Jay Murda. And that was an honor, you know what I'm saying? So I made sure like I was writing in a specific way to battle him. And Premier League, you know, they're very, very, like, I just feel like Premier, KOTD, like, they care a lot about like angles and certain things. But one thing I did when I went to Premier League, like I think it was my second round or maybe my first, I forgot, but I did this segment where I was just joking, and I was like, man, I'm not really like a jokey guy in my battles, but I was like, let's try it out. And bro, it went well. I did this whole comedic type of thing. I mean, they were dying laughing. And so that, if I never went to Premier, I wouldn't have been pushed to kind of like jump into that bag, and then KOTD jumping me. So by the time I got to URL, I felt like I had a repertoire, an arsenal of different bags that I could possibly go in and out of as I was getting comfortable with who I was personally. So yeah, I think I always try to tell people, whoever come up to me and they're not like a shoe-in for the URL rotation roster, I tell them, I said, yo, try to travel to these big leagues, wherever they're doing big pay-per-views, try to get on those cards and see what you can learn there and try different things and see how the fans kind of, react to it.
Yeah, no, I can see like that little improvement that you were talking about, because I immediately think of the battle that you had with Bad News, which I feel like is kind of like your coming out party, right? Yeah. The Bad News or the XL battle, whichever one of those you want to consider your coming out party, I did feel like your punches were great, but you did kind of speed through your setups. Even if the setups did make sense, I remember you used to rap so fast to where like I couldn't really get your setups, and I had to, and all I could remember is the punch. And now me seeing like you able to like slow it down, speed it up in certain segments, you know what I'm saying, really have good pacing. Like, you know, it's really good that you know
what that was too. The reason why I was rapping so fast was because my mindset was, when I would rap at that speed, the conviction was better, right? I always thought man, if I rapped at that speed and that's how I was able to deliver my content. So what I had to learn was, yo, I could still project and I could still end my punches in a convicting manner with a slower pace, but that just took time. That actually who I learned that from was JC, because JC had the same critique I had. If you remember old JC, he was rapping fast. But then up until the I want to say his like reality check was the Shine battle, and then after that he started to fine tune. He went to RBE, started to fine tune his stuff, and then RBE, all those joints, bro. And you start seeing, you's like, oh, he slowed it down, and it was just more potent, bro. It was just easier. It was easy. It was more digestible. And so for me, that's exactly what I did. So you're right. Like Bad News, I had some great punches, but me watching that battle back, and it's crazy. People ask me about the B-Dot. People to this day talk to me about the B-Dot battle, the Bad News battle, but I can't click play on those battles, bro. They tell me all the time, it's like, man, those are classics. I love those battles. And I'm like, all right, you should watch my new stuff, because if you like that, you definitely gonna love this.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you going through your experiences through the bullpen and going through other leagues and what that did for you. Huge deal. I feel like versatility is a very important thing in battle rap, and is what creates longevity, because everything becomes a trend, right? Whether it's back-to-back punching, whether it's, being performative, like certain things become trendy. And if you have an ability to hop in and out of certain bags and mesh well with other particular types of battlers, and that just pretty much enables you to have a good deal of longevity. So next question, right? So you mentioned that you felt like you were better than what you actually were. You felt that in the KOTD or whatever, right? You come to URL, have, one of the few people to have a debut on Gnome in URL for a PG, right? That happens, do really good against Scotty, has the Trez battle, and general consensus, a lot of people give Trez the battle, but I think that's a closer battle than what people made it.
Yeah.
Then you have the Brizz battle, right? And now you can sit back and laugh about it because you even made fun about it, in the prep battle or whatever in your first round, saying that like your soul was flying next to love that people love that battlers can make light of some of the situations. I just wanted to ask, man, because after the Brizz battle, I felt like you kicked into another gear. Going into 2020 and 2021, which we'll touch on 2021 in a little bit. What did you do to bounce back from just the criticism and just the banter that you got after the Brizz battle? Like how was that? What did you do to bounce back from that?
So real quick, just a step back. So once I did the gnome joint, right, I'm still on, even though I was hearing that I wasn't as good as I thought. You got to think about it. Now I debut on gnome and it's I'm rocking it. So I'm still thinking this. Right after that, they were like, "Hey, we want you to be." It was supposed to be the Strike 2.5.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
I still think to this day, if we battle on that stage in that Strike 2.5 room, in front of fans, because remember the volume setting. I mean, it's just battlers, right? Yeah. If we were in front of fans, I think that battle is talked about differently that night. I think it's talked about much different that night. One, two. Trez was a good friend of mine. He still is. He was a good friend of mine. So that was the first time where I was battling somebody who, I wasn't having any banter back and forth with. You know what I'm saying? Like it was no face off. There was nothing like that. And so it was difficult for me to get
really unleash because you're an angler. So
exactly. And then he gets locked up. So we don't battle on 2.5. We get moved to volume, which is dope. It was a bigger card. And when we get moved to volume, he's locked up, but I'm still not sure when he's getting out. Like I'm getting text messages from B, and it's difficult to kind of really write for that. And so I write as well as I can for that battle and to do certain things. But you could tell like he was in there to kind of like really prove a point because it was so much talk about me. Like I was just quote unquote undefeated at the time. It was like, yo, who can beat him and stuff. And so the thing about it though is that you're right. At the time, I remember that like when that battle happened, everybody was like, "Oh, Trez killed him." Over time though, to this day, people just like people quote my lines to this day about that battle. I really don't hear too many people bring up that Trez, and really that might be one of Trez's like biggest like moments. You know what I'm saying?
That was a big one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And granted, since then, he I feel like I've like you said, I've kind of like I've made a bunch of lists and stuff like that. And so from that battle, I was just like, okay, let's see who really stands the test of time after that, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I get a call right after the Trez battle. I get a call for Jerry West. I get a call for Jerry West on volume 4.
Wow.
So this is the John and O-Red battle.
John, O-Red, Twerk, Clips. Really underrated volume, actually, by the way. Really underrated volume. But so that's interesting.
Jerry West, right? Yeah. And the problem is that at the time, wasn't really interested in. Actually, I was never really interested. Even when I battled Jerry West, I wasn't really that interested in battling him. But I was just like, should I? I didn't know, right? I wanted a name. So John calls me with a week into this event. He was like, yo, Julio Jones is throwing an event, sponsoring this event.
Yeah.
Super Bowl weekend. And we want you to do a 1-rounder with Brizz. I was like, okay, bet. I said, that's fine.
That's a trap.
I said, that's fine. I'm working, I'm teaching, right? And we're battling on a Thursday. We battled on a Thursday in Atlanta because remember, it's Super Bowl weekend.
Right.
So it's like events all week. So I keep calling John like the next day and stuff. I'm like, yo, where's the deposit? Or they sending the deposit? Julio Jones people are supposed to send the deposit. I don't get my deposit until maybe like four days before. Now, granted, I'm already trying to brainstorm, but it's not the same. Now, granted, I had just started battling. I'm still only like 2 years into battling at this point, 2-3 years. So now I could get done with a 1-rounder the day of now. You know what I'm saying? And I could still perform at a high level. That time, there was no way. Mentally, I needed at least a week to memorize my material. So I was already doing it. And then on top of that, mentally, I had always battled on a Saturday. So battling on a Thursday kind of like threw off my schedule, and it was just really weird. So all these things are happening, but still, nonetheless, I was like, I got this. I write about 5 to 6 minutes of material. We were only supposed to rap 4 minutes contract wise. But I write about that, and so I probably finish. If we battle on Thursday, I probably finish on a Tuesday, right?
So you had 2 days to prepare.
But I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, it's one round. Just memorize this whole round. So I'm memorizing. But
you're not realizing that it's like pace. Like one round is like elongated, so it's like a long list of things you got to get through.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why you did that little. Yeah.
Basically, I'm wrapping it all through, but at the same time, it's still like 3 2-minute rounds. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing, though. I'm rehearsing, and bro, there wasn't one time, and I'm gonna be totally honest, there wasn't one time that I got through my round clean in any rehearsal. I'm talking about from Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday, where I get to Atlanta, because I drove there for that battle. I get to Atlanta, bro, and I'm going outside and I'm sparring with Bad News. I'm sparring with all these guys out there, and I could not get through my material clean. Like there were spots where I was kind of tripping, but what I kept telling myself was, I'm a game time battler. So once I'm in game,
mic'd up,
and I get
everything.
Crowd reaction, I'm like the adrenaline's kicking, I'm gonna be good.
Right.
And it was a part where obviously I just went blank, and I knew one of my techniques when I'm rehearsing is like for instance, I'll give you my round, right? I'll give you my whole round, and I'll say, all right, Lane, just choose a random word in the round, and I have to pick up from there. So you'll be like, caution. I'm like, caution. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So that helps me that wherever I choke at, wherever I stumble at, I'll be able to pick up, or wherever I'm thrown off at, or wherever I'm stopped. There isn't a part in my round that I should not be able to start my raps in. The problem is that this time, like I said, there was a part where I was just like, man, I don't know where I'm at. So what did I do? I jumped. Like, obviously I'm choking, I'm stumbling, and I'm just like, I jumped to a part where I was familiar at. So I skip all this chunk of material. I jump over here, and as I'm rapping this material, I'm still pissed off about this. So you kind of see me like the first 20 seconds of me getting it back, stumbling through that, and it's kind of nasty. But by the time I get my material off, I'm rapping. You know what I'm saying? I remember I'm still getting crowd reactions like that. But the problem is a one rounder. I went first, choked, and then now the crowd is like, I don't know if you remember, the crowd didn't know that these battles were one rounders. They thought they were 3 rounders.
That's why. That's why John had to do that whole 3rd round for Red on Volume 4. Yeah.
They were pissed because people were like, "Yo, we paid X amount of money." So when I don't give them a full 1 round, that crowd is like selling blood in the water now. And then obviously Brizz is a great performer. Brizz is a great battler, so he goes and he loses his mind. And so I remember leaving off that stage. And that was the first time, even after the Trust battle, I didn't really feel, because I knew my material. I knew I had moments like that. But after this joint, I just walked out the venue, bro, and I walked down the street with my head down. I just walked down with my head down, and I was just like, yo, what the hell happened? That was the first time that I said to myself, I said, you know what? I have a issue with jumping at the I have a FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I looked at that card and I was like, I gotta be on the card. I gotta be on the card because such as Tay-Rock's on the card and Brizz on the card and K-Shon's on the card, it's like that. And so and Julio Jones is gonna be there. DC Young Fly, in my mind, I was like, I have to be there. Not knowing that, yo, these opportunities come all the time. You're gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be able to do this, you're gonna be just trust the process. But my problem was I should have told John no. And I did at first, but he talked me into it. But the real issue was that was my fault for thinking, yo, you have to jump at every opportunity, and you don't. And so after the backlash, I already had told myself before the year, I said, yo, I'm not battling until I finish my last year of teaching, which was that year. And I was gonna stop teaching in May, so kids were gonna graduate. And I said, I'll pick up battling. Problem is that once I lose that battle and I carry out my promise of not battling, everyone looks at it like, oh you down,
yeah, right.
And I was like, no, that was always my plan. So, but I said to myself, I said, you know what? That's never gonna happen again, bro. I'm not choking. I'm not going up there. If somebody beats me, they're just gonna have to beat me. And I'm gonna take it out. You know what I'm saying? Because people think it's sweet. And so you're right. Right after that, I think my first battle back technically was a 1 rounder on Gate.
Yeah.
But the prep, I remember I took prep and I didn't want to battle prep, but prep was running his mouth like, yo, you died. And I was like, okay, this is what it is. You guys
and Prep was like kind of like gaining traction a little bit because he was feeling himself, because he felt like, you know, I want to say, was it 2017? You know what I'm saying? Like he had a good battle with Trez, and then he felt like people were saying Trez. And then on top of that, he had before Born Legacy 7, he beat Don Marino, Born Legacy 6, so he was really starting to pick up or whatever. So he felt like,
I hate when some battlers come up to me and they're like, "You saw what I did to that same point," and I'm like, "Yo, you didn't
it's
get
not the same system."
Bro, real name Brandon, KCJ. I remember they were just like, "You lost to Twerk," and I was like, "Wait, are you guys like bragging about like beating a Twerk that like choked?" You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I'm not even going to entertain this conversation, but people do. But Prep was doing that. And so I just remember going up into, getting up to the battle and watching interviews that Prep was having about me. And it was pissing me off. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go in there and body him, bro. I'm going to just do that. I'm just pissed off now. And I went in there and I did exactly what I knew I was going to do. The crowd was real receptive to everything, and you know, it was in Tampa. I had to do that. And so right after that, I was like, all right, let's get to a point where you know, people could start, you know, respecting it. And I don't think that I fully got that respect back, like all the way. Like people remembered, like, yo, you know what? You are super, super dangerous until my JC battle. So I did the Prep battle at the end of towards the end of 2019. I battled
It was right after No.
Okay.
So it was like mid, yeah.
So then I battled Flacco on Bullpen, which is another great battle.
Really
I had
good battle.
great material there.
Yep.
And then I don't think I battled again that year, but then the next year, now 2020, COVID hits, right? And so we're battling a lot now because we're in this small thing. And so we're in this bubble. And then after that, you know, I'm just like, I'm
picking it up.
I'm about to just go ahead and just get crazy. And like I said, the JC battle was like the one for me.
But I was gonna ask, because you mentioned how, like, you know, 2019 you kind of had to rebuild or whatever. I was gonna ask, man, because I asked Saga the same question on one of his lives, but I feel like Saga had his run, you know what I'm saying, as being like the Horseman in 2019, right? And then I feel like you had your run 2017, 2018 of being like the guy of like the Christian battlers. And I feel like 2021 was a situation where you and A-War kind of shared the mantle or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Has there been a little bit of competition between the Horsemen in terms of like, oh, who's going to have the best year this year? Because I feel like there's always like a handoff of like Saga goes crazy 2019. Then, you know what I'm saying, A-War does his thing, you know?
Yeah, so you know what's crazy? So when we started out, you would think like, and so in the beginning, right? Obviously, everyone just saw Saga on URL. But you're right. As soon as I come in Bullpen, 2017, 2018, I remember Champion is doing interviews and people are doing, and the consensus was Loso's the best one. Loso is the best one. And it wasn't, you know, that just wasn't even a comment. And it was just like the performances I was putting on, that's just what they felt. And they even had Saga 2 and then they had War 3, right? Then you're right, 2019 happens, right? I end up taking time off after the Brizz battle. But I remember after 2018, I remember A-Ward, we have a group chat, and I made a joke and I said, guys, I need you guys to carry your weight around here, something like that. I was like,
and Amos definitely did,
and I was like, yo, this is, and Saga started laughing. A-Ward was like, man, Loso's not lying. Like he's on all these lists. I was on every list for the last 2 years, and Ward wasn't getting on the list. But Ward said this. Ward told me, he says, I'm gonna step up. So what Ward ended up doing was, I remember he had booked 4 battles in like a span of like 60 days. And one of those battles was the Cortez battle. And so now
she did really good. Yeah.
And so he's gaining traction in 2019. And he, in his mind, was like, yo, I'm never missing a list now. 2019, 2020, 2021, he was like, I'm not going to miss any lists. Saga, though, is having a crazy run because, like you said, he's battling Nitty, he's battling JC, he's battling Chef Trez. He's doing great in all these battles. And you're right. So 2019, it looks like that. 2020, boom, I'm back in the mix, you know what I'm saying? Saga's there, Ward's there. And so it's not something that we outwardly say, but it is something that is like like we are aware of what's going on. Then 2021 was probably like the most competitive year for me and Ward. Like it was like back to back. You know, I'm getting off stage after the Vixen thing goes viral. He gets off stage with the Ill Will. I get off stage with the Chest. He gets off stage with the, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it's almost like this, like iron sharpens iron. Like, okay, I see what you're doing. Now watch what I go do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unfortunately, this year, you know, I would love to keep that same energy. The only thing, you know, like I tell people, I was like, hey, I can only get in the ring with people who signed their end of the contracts and negotiate. So, you know, it was back and forth. But there is, bro. I think it's a healthy competition. It's not a jealousy though, because I tell people all the time, like they are my favorite battlers to watch. And me personally, I'm humbled when somebody wants to say, yo, Los, I feel like you're the best out of the group. But at the same time, I think if you're just talking about like pure talent, I just think that those guys are better than you. And I'm okay with that. I think I study street hands, bro. I study war.
His penmanship is crazy. Very underrated.
Like they're first of all, they're just better writers than me. They're just naturally better writers than me. For me, though, what I do have, I tell them all the time, I was like, I just know how to battle. And so we get in that ring, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just who I am. I just know how to battle. I know how to project. I know how to angle. And so, but those guys, I look up to them, bro. I think they're the best in the world. And so, I love the healthy competition we have.
Yeah, and then when I look at the Horsemen, the original four, right, I think of Street Hymns as like the ultimate pin guy. I feel like he has one of the more underrated pins in battle rap. I look at A-Ward, I think of him as like the mixed bag, right? Freestyle, rebuttal, but can angle, can do this and all that. When I think of the Saga, I think of like an unorthodox like type of guy who can mix in a little bit of aggression and performative stuff. I think he's like the better performer out of the four. And when I think of Loso, I just think of a guy that is really great at attacking his opponent and is really good at tailoring his material. So I feel like all of you guys excel at a particular thing, which makes the group that much greater. Last question until we get into our small intermission. With 2021 being your best year of your career, I know 2020 was a good year too. Obviously, you mentioned the JC win, which was a huge deal. But when you think of 2021, what are some of your like favorite moments outside of like, you know, the Vixen battle and stuff like that? But like, what are some of the favorite moments that you look back and be like, wow, like I achieved something that's going to stand the test of time?
Yeah, what people forget is when me and Chess, when we dropped, we were the
battle of the year
at the time, and we were on the app statistically, we were the highest rated battle. So a stat that I ended up getting from the URL office, they got a statistic of like when they can see the watch rate. Like, okay, do people stop watching at the first or second round? We were at a 98% watch rate. Like people were watching the battle from the first to the third, both of our rounds, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just a great battle. So that's something that I'm really proud of that material. That's probably some of my favorite material. Even though my Vixen material was like, you know, going viral and stuff, I just feel like the chess stuff was just like, it was just, I was so proud of it because I just came off such a high with Vixen and I was like, yo, I gotta match those rounds. And I think I did. And so that was really dope. I think in 2021, just keeping my name in the mix throughout the year, winning round of the year,
battling Arsenal. You know
Arsenal. And I was just saying this earlier today. I was like, man, I've had way better battles that year. But to this day, like sometimes I'll get stopped by people and they were just like, yo, I'm like, bro, I was so hyped that you battled Arsenal. Like, that's how popular he really is. People don't really understand it, but like, he's like an icon to people who aren't regular battle rap watchers.
Yeah.
The regular guys, they're obviously going to come up to me and say, yo, the twerk battle, the chess battle, the Vixen battle. But like people who don't regularly watch, they come up to me like, Loso, you battled Arsenal. In my head, I'm like, yeah, but that battle was like an average battle. Like it was like a forgettable battle. And so one thing I'm really, really proud of though in 2021 was my Jada Nightwing performance, bro. And I think that gets great way to seal your deal to make top 10 for sure. It was a buzzer beater for sure for me that year because I was like, man, you know, the twerk battle had people saying like, well, we don't really know. The King Jables battle, even though I did really good, it wasn't a high profile battle. Right. The Arsenal battle, like I said, I won, but it wasn't a really talked about battle. And then I needed one more and I was trying to get T-Top, but because I was technically already locked in, because I had signed a 2 battle deal with them. It was Arsenal and Jada Nightwing. but I couldn't do the Jada Nightwing battle in Oakland. So I backed out of it. I told them, I said, hey, I'll send you the deposit back. And they said, no, we want you to make it up at volume. We're going to do it like this small thing. And I was like, I don't want to just do it as a small thing. I'd rather be on the stage. I don't want to do it at all. And I wanted to battle with T-Top at volume, but they weren't with it. They were like, look, you got to fulfill your contract with the Jada Nightwing. So, and Jay was talking really crazy in interviews. And I was like, okay. All right, then. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do this. And so I went and I just wrote, some really, really creative stuff. I was I like his name, Jay the Nightwing. I was like, oh, there's so much here. And then, just even him, his personality, I was like, okay, let's go and try to flip a lot of stuff. And so I love that material. It's a battle, like obviously it was straight to the app. So not a lot of people was able to see it. But just looking back, I think that kind of sealed, that was like the last thing to like say, yo, you know what? Loso had a really crazy year. Yeah. Especially with this last win on Jay. Yeah. And so, that's probably that whole 2021. I think my writing is probably what the thing that I was most proud of. I elevated my writing angles, the way to attack people. I put that on another level.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was actually in the building for when they were announcing you and Jay were going to battle, because I was at Smack Volume. I'm thinking, oh, the event is over. Then it's like, oh, wait, we got an extra battle. I said, an extra battle? Yeah. Then they announced, I was like, that's fire.
You were there when you watched it?
Yeah.
You watched it live? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, like, that's kind of crazy. But, I think what makes 2021 great for you, and also kind of enhances my experiences watching you battle, is the fact that I was able to see some of those performances live, whether it's like you going against a twerk that had like immense energy, but you kept your composure. I'm saying? Like any other person would have folded. And I think even though like I feel like, in my opinion, twerk won, I still commend you for this, standing there and still delivering your material the way that you wanted to, because anybody else in that situation, I'm literally in the building, I'm hearing everybody saying, oh, we're here to see twerk rap. Like we're here to see twerk rap. So you know what I'm saying? So like I can see how discouraging that could be for you to go on stage and give your full effort and nobody's trying to hear you. So salute for that. And then obviously the first battle event I ever went to was Gnome 11. I got to see you versus Jerry West, which I feel like your material, your first 2 rounds were really, really masterful with the angling.
Good material.
Yeah,
great material. You know who tells me that all the time? France is like, Los, I'm so pissed that you used some of this material on this battle, because he obviously loved it that I was battling Jerry, but he was just like, I wish more people saw it, bro.
Yes.
And you're right, bro. Like, I mean, the stuff that I was coming up with,
the Nigeria bum, the led by the spirit, like some of my favorite lines that you've like ever said were in that battle. You know what I'm saying? But I think last year, I just think that you really honed in on being, a master of your craft. That's angling, that's rap patterns, that's just knowing how to attack your opponent, for sure. But we're about to take a small intermission. We're going to look at some of Loso's highlights of his career early on prior to his URL one, and we'll be back really soon. So watch this clip really quick.
If my mind ain't wrong, I could have dared to do it. Decapitated everything on him from his head to shoes. I put his body in North Carolina, his arms in Tampa. They gonna have to mail it too. And I ain't even sinned once, cause I'm a Christian. I'm supposed to spread the news. For comment that. Cause over here we separate my God from promo. So if you don't wanna hear about how my God is rose though, living inside my soul, bro. Push rocks with Coco. You niggas stop watching Loso. Go have a conversation with him. Wait. I know twerk somewhere like, man, Loso the fakest Christian. No, stupid, can't you see we kind of praying different? I told that man, bow, go have a conversation with him.
Welcome back to the Speaking Our Language show. We're at the second part, and we're going to do what I always like to do, talk about top 5 stuff, because 5 is one of my favorite numbers outside of 4. We're going to step into Loso's Rappers Pentagon. So the concept of this is I'm going to ask Loso 5 questions, and it's going to pertain to 5 things, or a top 5. So when I think of anglers, right, of this generation, the first thing I think of is you, T-Top, B-Dot, you know, Holmesy, and even Kid Chaos. I know people put him in like the schemers, writers bubble, but he angles a lot.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I told Chaos that, and he said he wouldn't classify himself as an angler. But
He's most definitely an angler.
I said, bro, you're really good. You're a really good angler.
Yeah. And I just appreciate the fact that even though, like, you know what I'm saying, lyricism has progressed and evolved and like everybody's punch heavy now, angling is still a core component of battling. But I wanted to ask, man, since you're an angler and you know, and one of the best anglers of this generation, I wanted to ask you, like, who do you consider like the top 5 anglers in the game? Yeah. This could be from a standpoint of like, you know, right now, this could be all time, just your top 5 anglers in the game.
Yeah, so I would say this right now. I think people on this list are definitely an all-timer, but I would still say, like, when they're battling, they are the best at executing angles. The only name that I almost want to take out because of recent is T-Top. I think T-Top all time though. I think T-Top is still great. I think recently they've been falling flat a little bit, like the Swamp joint, even this last one with Tay Rock. Like there were just some, and people are not really being receptive to his angles as they once were. You know what I'm saying? Now they're just like, oh, is it fake? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But regardless though, I mean, if you're a battle rap connoisseur, you just know T-Top is really great. B-Dot to me is always just gonna be hands down. I tell B-Dot, when it comes to angling, he has the gift of, you can give him a piece of metal and he's going to turn it into a Bentley. Crazy. That's all he needs. Facts. And he just needs one line. He needs one line that you have said in a previous battle or something like that, and he can go ahead and write 5 minutes. Create a story. And so I think the other two are Iron Solomon and Ilmac for me. Even though you don't see them a lot, I think Ilmac, to me, I tell people all the time, he's one of the few guys that I actually entertain the thought of beating A-Ward, like that actually got the best of A-Ward. That was it. I know people say, you know, DNA and then obviously XL and stuff like that, but to me, Ilmac was the only one. But it was because of the angles. It was because of the angles and how he executed them. Angles and approach. And then Iron Solomon, I mean, he showed the world that you can angle straight through punches when he went toe to toe with Nitty. And so, but Iron Solomon, even then, like, I mean, every time he steps on stage, he's able to go ahead and put together a masterclass of how to break down an opponent, but be patient while you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I would throw myself in there, bro. I do think that, you know, given any day, given any opponent, with me just, you know, putting my effort in, I think I'm one of the top anglers as well.
Not mad at that list. Salute to Iron, because Iron most definitely is. I mean, if you look at just his, like, the foundational piece he has in battle rap, he's one of the people. Him, the Mooks, are like one of the people. I know Lux is pretty much considered an angler just because that's kind of his approach as of late. But before then, back then, he was more of a bar for bar guy. But you had people like Mook, you had people like Iron, who really took the time to break down their opponent. So I really appreciate you mentioning Iron.
Mook is definitely, I mean, he could easily be in that list. He could easily be an all-time too. Like, to me, I know a lot of people don't really like him. I'm a Mook fan, bro. I'll always be a Mook fan. And yeah, he's one of the GOAT anglers as well. But
No, but I appreciate you mentioning him. I appreciate you mentioning Ilmac, just because Ilmac, just the way he approaches certain things. So I feel like angling is not just about picking a topic, but it's approaching it the right way. It's knowing how to, like, you know, how to attack the opponent with it, whatever. Yeah. Sometimes angles are good enough to where, like, sometimes topics are good enough to where you don't have to attack the opponent that much. You just pick apart that particular thing, whether it's like a weird situation that someone did and all that. But the key to being a great angler is knowing how to take something small, like you mentioned with B-Dot, and, you know, maximize it and make it bigger than what it is. Yeah. That's pretty much all the angling is about, just honing in on one particular subject and making it bigger than what it is. Exactly. Next question. 5 battlers that Loso needs to see before he retires. I already have my personal 5. I would love to see you versus T-Top. I actually do want to see a 3-round battle between you and Holmesy, because I feel like he's wanted that battle since I forget what the event was. I want to say it was a DMV card. It was I think it was a DMV card. And he was battling Big Ken, and you and him had a face off. because Big Cannon wasn't there. So I would really like that battle. It's funny that you mentioned Ilmac. I would really love to see you and Ilmac battle each other, just because I feel like just the way that you guys are incredible rappers and you know how to attack your opponent. Would really like that battle. Gotta talk about this. Need you and Real Sick to battle. I know I know it may be different this year, but last year when we had a conversation off cam, we talked a little bit. You were just like, well, if I battle Real Sick, they're gonna have to pay me good money because that's my boy. Like, I'm not gonna. But now I feel like the competitive energy is there. You know what I'm saying? So
they don't have to pay as much now.
right. So I would love to see that battle. And obviously, you just did a live stream with it. You versus Shine is overdue. That should have been happened a while ago. You know what I'm saying? You guys. I remember you and Ward did a virtual 2-on-2 and DNA and Shine or whatever, and I feel like that was easy for you to do because you have plenty to say to Shine. Those are the 5 people I want you to see. Who are the 5 people that you want to battle before you retire?
And so Shine, I mean, he's just one of the greats. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we were actually locked in the battle on the first update card in 2019. I ended up getting paid for it, you know, signed contracts, but you know, he ended up getting offered past state clip. He did like a 3-battle contract, past state clips, and I forgot who else. And so with me, I'm never a guy who's like, oh, such and such is ducking. Like, no, that made sense why you took those battles. But for me, you know, I mean, I just think the world of K-Shine, and I think that would just help me elevate to the next level. So K-Shine, T-Top, I think I also got to see before I'm done, I would love to battle. You know what? I'm not mad at the Ilmac one. I've been approached with Ilmac. It just never went through. One guy who I personally don't just want to see, and I mentioned him earlier, was Iron Solomon. These are guys that I just think that, like, yo, if I can go to war with words with them, that'll be fire. And then also, last but not least, Brizz for 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, that's probably the like the one that's probably never gonna happen, only because, like, one, he's taking a step back from battle rap altogether, and if he ever does come back, it's Mook. Like, that's who everybody wants to see.
He has a whole itinerary before.
And then even then, if he comes back, like, there's so many people that people want to just see him with. You know what I'm saying? So it would almost have to be something where, like, I either gain a bunch of traction and I just start calling him out, yada, 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 or I get somebody where, like, John reaches out, we have a bag, and we're just like, yo, let's go ahead and do this. Because for me, personally, the reason why I want to do that before I'm done is because that's, like, the only stain on my career, really. That's, like, the one spot when people look at my jersey, they're like, look at that one right there. You know what I'm saying? So, but those would be the 5 that I say.
Okay. Not mad at it. Okay. You can go down memory lane a little bit. Top 5 dangerous rounds you stood in front of. A couple I think of off rip is like Twerk's first round. Yeah. Obviously the Brizz 1-rounder. Obviously, I feel like Trez's second was probably one of the tougher rounds that you faced early on in your career.
I'm literally thinking the rounds you're saying. I already had them in my head.
Yeah, and then like early on in your career, I may even mention something like, you know, Bad News second round or whatever with the body check, not a pocket check, but a body check or whatever. And then, you know, Daylight's first round too, when he got into a weird rapping pocket. So there's a couple that come to mind, but I just want to know. I know the perspective is different. I know the perspective is different from the battler. So name 5 rounds, 5 dangerous rounds you stood in front of.
So definitely the first 3 were already gonna be mentioned, right? Twerk's first, Brizz 1-rounder, and then Chef Trez second round. Chef Trez second round was really, really good. Rounds that I would add there, underrated round, but I remember at the time I was like, wow, this is being delivered really well. XL's third round. Who is your God? Where's your God? I think it was like, where's your God? XL's third round for me.
Yeah, that's a really good battle.
Yeah, it was that was a really, really good round. I remember at the time people were doing that. And then if I had to add another one in there, I would say this is another underrated round, bro. But it was just, at the time, it was just working. Scotty's first round for me in Houston, bro. And the reason why I'm saying Scotty's first round is because I remember going into that battle, I said, yo, you know what? He's not beating this first round. He's just not, he doesn't have it. And my first round, if you watch it,
was really good.
I'm shaking the room. And I remember standing there and as Scotty's rapping.
Right.
And I remember telling myself, I said, bro, he's doing it. He is he's at least matching the first round.
Right.
And now, granted, by the end of the battle, they're screaming 3-0 for me. But at that time, when he's doing the first round, I was just like, yo, everything, like he's putting up the horns and people are just going crazy.
The Jesus on the main line.
The Jesus on the main line is, to this day, just a staple for him. It's one of his biggest lines and people always quote it. And but I just remember standing there and I was just like, I did not see this coming, bro. But Averb told me. Averb said, because Averb is a master of being in places where on the road, and also being in situations where he has to like fight an uphill battle. But he told me, man, Averb, people think he just talks, but he knows the game, bro. He said, you never put your best round in your first round when you're going against a hometown kid. He was like, you just don't do that. He was like, but what was great about that is that I still had the Mike Jones, I still had the tipping on full. So I still had some big moments that later on in the rounds. But for that specific one, I mean, Scotty, Aver basically was telling me to give Scotty the first. He didn't hear Scotty's first. He didn't know anything. He just said, look, just don't put your best first because it's gonna be good. But they want to see that guy anyway, and so what he said exactly what happened. But Scotty's first round for me is definitely up there. So
yeah, and I think there's a fine line because like one thing I think of is just like you want to have a good enough round to where it's like you don't fully lose the crowd in the first round, but you don't want it to be too great to where like it won't surpass what your opponent did. So it's like a fine line you have to meet in that first round when you're not at home for sure. Yeah. Okay. This is another interesting topic because I'm all about the regionals and the regions in battle rap or whatever. Every region has their own different type of flair. You know, New York ran battle rap at one point. I think the Midwest ran battle rap at one point. People are saying now the West is running battle rap or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Not enough talking about the South, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the South always has like a little bit of influence, whether it's, you know, spit that heat, whether it's bullpen, you know what I'm saying? Just infusing a little bit of like, you know, gems within the culture. And I wanted to ask you, who are your top 5 battlers out of the South, or who are the first 5 battlers you think of when it comes to representing, you know, the Southern battle rap scene?
Yeah. So I don't know if the world looks at them as Southern battlers, but I would put T-Top and Brizz in there.
Okay. T-Top for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were spit that heat. I mean, I don't know if they consider North Carolina Southern.
It's South. Yeah, okay. It's Southern. Yeah.
So me personally, I would put both of them in there. I would put myself in there as well. One guy who I think has an argument just for what he's done in the South is Chef Trez, bro. I think he has an argument for one of the greatest Southern battlers of all time. I think Chef Trez definitely belongs in there. And it's a lot of other great ones. And I think, you know, you have the Kid Chaos, you have the Swamps, you have all these guys coming up. It's like that. But I just think somebody who, and then he may not be talented as far as like, it may not be as talented as the rest, but I do think Scotty embodies what it means to be from the South. That's what he reps. I mean, is Houston Southern?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
West Southern. Yeah. A little bit.
You know what I'm saying? But Scotty kind of embodies that. You know what I'm saying? Whenever we're talking about the South, I mean, that's where he's at. But, you know, you have a lot of guys. I think Lou Cypher and Correct Lamar, what they've done out here. Granted, they're not on national television, right? Right. But from where we're at, like if you ask the guys back at home, they know that these guys get busy. And so I just think that that's what it is. But, you know, Bad News is another guy that I think, you know, he's just done his thing. And Flacco L. I know I gave you more than 5, but I already named the 5, but I'm just saying the honorable mentions. Flacco L, if he was consistently battling, I think he definitely could be in that combo. So
yeah, I also think of people like Riggs, who has spurts where like he's doing really good, but but sometimes doesn't really get those shots or whatever. I really enjoyed his performance, his band performance. You know what I'm saying? Enjoyed his performance against Drugs or whatever. He even had on the Ace and John card. I felt like he had a good performance too.
Oh yeah,
I think of Riggs. Think of Official, obviously Official, New Orleans own. You know what I'm saying? You know she's fire. KC's in that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Ladies from the South or whatever. But yeah, no, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because I want to show that like every region have like stars. Your top 5 performances, and when I say top 5, I mean like when you look at these performances, you think to yourself like, if anybody sees these 3 rounds, nobody's touching me. Like, so what are the 5 performances that you think of when you think of your top 5 performances?
So off rip, Vixen, JC, Chess. Those
that was quick. I'm about to say that was quick. That was quick.
I don't have to think about those. Those are just, to me, those are in the like when I'm old and I'm telling stories to my grandkids. So that those are 3 battles that I think from top to bottom, I was clicking on all cylinders. I also think 2 other performances that are just like really, really stand out. Maybe this is not a highly talked about one, but my Excel performance.
Really like your Excel performance.
I would say that just because
especially with the what verse is that?
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I was trying things, and I was like, and bro, it was a packed room in Atlanta for that, bro.
It was. I think that was the same card as DNA and Trez, right?
Yep, DNA, and it was supposed to be John and Daylight on that card as well, but Daylight ended up getting into like some situation or whatnot. But so we got those 4, and if I have to mention, and I know other people will put other performances there, but bro, maybe can I add a 2-on-2?
If you want to, you can.
Yeah, I think me and Ward versus KD and MVP, bro. And so,
wow, you're choosing that 2-on-2. Initially, I thought you were gonna say Geechee and B-Dot, because I felt like that was like that was really good. I think the energy again with KD and MVP was a bit higher, but I think that's in byproduct of us knowing what kind of happened with Guardians of the culture, and then also like it was a lot of battles that day. But I could have sworn you were gonna choose, going against Geechee.
Only reason for the Geechee and B-Dot one is because Geechee and B-Dot, don't get me wrong, we were on one, and I tell people all the time, I was like, bro, what me and Ward are doing, when I tell you we're really not even like, bro, we haven't been prepped. We didn't prep for those battles like we should have. We took a couple days and wrote those things and memorized them in like a day or so. And so, but the KD one and MVP was just so much fun. I was traveling on the West Coast. I was on a family reunion over there while me and Ward are just texting each other ideas back and forth. And so, but I have that up there. If I don't choose that, I'll probably put my Jada Nightroom performance. I like all 3 rounds that I did with Jada Nightroom.
Yeah, immediately I think of maybe not your best performances, but I think of like moments where I was just like extremely impressed. And I'll mention it probably later in the last segment, but your performance against Daylight impressed me because that wasn't just no run-of-the-mill Daylight. That was a Daylight that was actually trying. It was a judge battle. People forget that it was a judge battle. That was a huge moment. I think of the show off battle, because show off was trying to get you out of here because he had the old red situation, and he almost retired. Then he came back and he was trying to get you out of here or whatever. That was an important one too, which I think you did really good in that one too.
I think what was the only reason why I didn't say this one is because I feel like the mic didn't allow people to really like take in what we were doing, what I was really saying. But a performance that I really love was my Moneybags performance, bro. Top to bottom, my Moneybags, but the content I was giving Money, bro, was so fire. But on YouTube though, I think it was my chain that was messing up the mic, and I wish I would have took it off. But bro, I mean, from the first to the third round, I thought I was clicking, and in the building, everybody just had me like losing my mind too. So
yeah, and I think of another underrated performance, like because you already talked about JC, Chess, Vixen. I think of your EK performance. I think your EK performance on the undercard of the Murder Mook and Tay-Rock thing, because I feel like a lot of people were like, what's up with this undercard? But then when they see like the battles like Holmesy and B-Dot, you know, you and EK, then Danny and Jerry West are just like, I mean, this is entertaining. And I thought that your performance against, in my opinion, I thought EK was good. I thought his performance was really good. I still, like, in the back of my head, say I turned hallways into war halls. I still say that in the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the craziest lines. That's one of the craziest lines I heard. But I feel like you either matched him or surpassed him each round, which is why I like that performance too. But all of the rest of the performance you mentioned was great as well. Might as well. I'm gonna add one more top 5 question.
Yeah.
Top 5 battles you watch for inspiration that aren't yours.
Got it. One of the first battle, T-Top and Sue Surf, bro. I watch that first round all the time. Before I get on stage, I watch that one just to carry the energy.
And you're saying, do you watch Surf's first round or you watch both of them? Because I feel like because T-Top fought back.
Bro, T-Top fought back crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Surf was losing his mind. And I'm probably going to watch it right when I get off of this, bro. Sue Surf and Hitman. I watched Sue Surf and Hitman as well. I just think that battle almost gave us everything. Another battle that I watched for inspiration is, so this is delivery and stuff like that. And it's not so much the total battle, but the performance of Young Ill. Was Young Ill versus Rich Dollars. And I watched Young Ill versus Rich Dollars in that room in that small little one-off setting.
The stanky Yankee. I want to stab it.
Exactly. I used to know that. I used to know that second round from Young Ill almost like it was a song for almost like it was a verse from a song.
Right.
I watch. Man, it's a lot of Surf on my list, bro. And it was crazy. Surf probably isn't like even like my like. I mean, he's definitely, I love him, but I don't know if he's like, if I would say he's my top, but he has these battles that I just go back. Surfing Big T, I go back and I watch that one. And another battle that I go to and watch for inspiration is what's another one?
Wait, time out. Before you get to that one, I put this in one of my videos. Surfing Big T is not only a top 5 small room battle of all time, but it probably has one of the best trailers of all time too. If you ever seen the Surf and Big T trailer with the 8 Mile with that the promo and then like the 8 Mile soundtrack in the background, them having like the little effects for it when Surf is doing his vice versa bar and then just all that incredible trailer. And that's what I was talking to you about when I was saying like they need to get back to doing like trailers like that, like trailers where it give me that thematic feel. Like that trailer is amazing. But continue, my fault.
I gotta go back and watch that one. I gotta watch that trailer again. But another one would be John and Hitman.
And it makes sense because obviously John is kind of like your mentor to a degree. Obviously he's like put you under the wing and like pretty much brought you under the bullpen fold. But it's also, when I think of that battle, I think of a person rising to the occasion, right? Because at the end of the day, John was coming into a situation where URL didn't even want to put him on the card. They didn't even want him to like battle on that stage because they were just like, what happens if he gets bodied? Then what? Like, we're trying to bring up this talent and we're putting him against a hitman that's like damn near untouchable at this moment or whatever. But I can understand why someone like you would appreciate that battle because it's a huge testament to what happens when you believe in yourself. And what happens when you rise to the occasion at the right moment. So I can understand that. One more top 5 because your answers are really, really interesting.
Yeah, let's do it.
5 of your favorite angles in battle rap that aren't yours.
Yeah. 5 of my favorite angles. B-Dot's third round against EK, again, where he basically angles smack. And
that was amazing.
Just the PG process.
Yes, that was amazing.
Which is probably just up there. There is, what is this? Is this, I want to make sure I get this right. Was it, do you remember Swave Seva versus Danny Myers?
You say you're the king of Harlem. How dare you? The third
that
round.
Rap, bro. They don't really, people don't really talk about that, bro. But that was up there.
That third round was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Iron Solomon's second round for Rum Nitty.
They just posted it. Yeah.
And so, and to me, it's up there because so Rum Nitty. First of all, if you can angle Rum Nitty, you're just a genius because Rum Nitty doesn't really have too many angles. I mean, but what Iron Solomon did was he took his slogan. He took Nitty's slogan and he held up a mirror to Nitty. It was like, your slogan tells us why you're so one-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? You're 99% gun bars, and the other 1% is the slogan.
We noticed.
Bitch, we noticed. You know what I'm saying? When Nitty has a topic, he's focused. You know right. Like that's like genius. You know what I'm saying? He's like, let me guess, you're just gonna talk about the iron the whole battle, which is so like, it's like a double right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you do it, like, and he the way he was able to take a line, like I said, like the great anglers do, he was able to take a piece of metal, bro, make a Bentley. Thought that was fire. Surf's third round for Hitman. And you know, which is crazy because I remember Surf on Spaces not too long ago was kind of like downplaying angles, and I was like, bro, arguably your greatest round is an angle. You know what I'm saying? Arguably. And so, but yeah, that third round for Hitman. And Hitman, I think Hitman's second round for ours is pop. I think he created, I don't know, did he create storytelling in battle rap? Like the fact that he was able to do
I would say it's been there before, but to that particular, I feel like what Hitman did is he made it more of a staple in battle rap. I feel like it happened before, because like even if you want to go back to like Mook telling his story about how he ended up battling Sirius Jones and how he
you're right.
Young,
exactly
how he ended up battling Young Hot, like he was calling me and I was, so like I said, now those are mine, and I'm like, I study, right? But then obviously, if you were asking me, yo, what are the all-time angles? I mean, I'm taking out the Iron Solomon, I'm taking out, and I'm gonna put in the Low Deluxe third for Cal. I'm gonna put in the Averb third for Hitman. Like, those are, to me, those are like the angle Hall of Fame joints. You know what I'm saying? That I think when I hang up my jersey, I would hope that my second round for Vixen is in that conversation. Right. Mike P's second round for Danny is there. Like, so like, I think that those angles are there, but those are my personal ones. So. Yeah, and I also think, even though I don't like, it's not really an angle, but it's a concept that was so ahead of its time and still could be used today, was Ilmac's third versus Big K, because it's not really an angle, but it's a concept that he goes about like constructing the round. Like, that was amazing. Also think of one of my favorite battles of all time, Saga and B-Dot. I think of Saga's third round or whatever. Just the like, and like I said on the panel, bro, like, anglers are pretty much like the kings of character assassination. Like, they just know how to break down their opponent and make their opponent look crazy. Yeah. The way he was able to take something as simple as B-Dot playing ball and like his outlet being ball and it shifting into it being Pan-Africanism, was because that was his only choice, is kind of crazy when you put it in that perspective. Then also just him saying something as simple as, you say you have the heart of Marcus Garvey. Well, Marcus Garvey had a heart of Christ. Like, stuff like that is kind of like just incredible, and it shows how much battlers go into research and studying and really putting attention into detail in everything that they do. So that's why, that's why I said early on, like, I really appreciate the fact that even though lyricism has progressed and evolved and whatever, everybody's punch heavy, they're still like, the angles are still a core component of battle rap. Exactly. So I really appreciate that. But and that was this. And
I'll say this too, man. I think what was so effective, because obviously you have some fans like, I don't care about angle. It's like, yes you do, bro, and it's the way it's formulated. But here's the thing, though, you're right. Like, it's the character assassination, but it's also the art of like, okay, you guys love this guy that I'm battling. My job is to make him look different than the perception you have. He's not Superman, and I'm gonna show you why he's not Superman. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when people can go ahead and do that in a and I always tell people it's the double E thing, right? It's the educate and entertain thing. If you can master both those concepts within a round, you're a master at angling. And what it also does to me personally, why I'm never afraid to go against a puncher or a brawler like that, is because when they start rapping, they're gonna go. They're obviously giving you this fantasy world, right? They're gonna shoot me. They're gonna, put a Christian in this or whatever it is, right? But it's like, no, you're not. Here's the thing. Now, when I start rapping, I snap the crowd back into reality. That was good. You guys all were entertained there. I'm gonna snap you back into reality, and now I'm gonna talk about something that is real, that you're gonna have to look into the mirror and deal with. You're gonna have to go ahead and And the fans are gonna have to like really have the conversation with themselves, like, what Loso said was true. You know what I'm saying? Angles that stick. Like, you know, for the rest of, you know, Vixen's career, she has to deal with this whole
second round angle.
You know, second round thing. You know what I'm saying? Whatever this person, whatever it is. And so, Hitman with the Big Gerald thing with Verb, you know what I'm saying? Like it does that. Great angles do that. And so I'm all for angles. What I'm not for is personals, right? Like
That's
me
different.
personally.
That's different.
I think if you ask Loso what is permissible for him, what I like to do is I like to watch their battles and I like to take what they say. Oh, you said this? Cool. Now that's Vixen's whole. That's my second round for Vixen. I quote her in her coffee battle, and I quote her in her Emerson Kennedy battle. So I take out of her own, so that there's no like how they're doing with other battlers. Oh, that angle's fake. That angle's fake. To me, I don't want to do none of that.
She performed it. She did it. Like this is actually verbatim.
You guys can go. I'm gonna tell you where you can go find it, and I'm gonna tell you why this is it. The only time that I guess I kind of was maybe my JC third round, but that was me. I had the files. I had the emails of me trying to get a feature for him, and lo and behold, years later, I become Loso and now battling JC. You know what I'm saying? But for instance, like let's say I was the one who was battling Adi after he came out of jail, and the information came to my desk that he had snitched. Personally, I wouldn't have brought it up. Personally, now I'm not. Don't get me wrong. That round is one of the most dismantling character assassination rounds of all time. Big K executed it. I'm just saying, personally, I wouldn't have done it. I've been hit up several times. I remember Show Off. I was battling Show Off, and a female has sent me all this information on Show Off and saying all this.
So that really happens. That's a real thing. Where when you battle somebody, that's crazy.
It's happened several times, and I told Show Off, and I showed Show Off. I said, hey, I just want you to know this happened. I showed him after the battle. This happened. Don't worry about it. Obviously, I didn't respond, and he said, okay, bet. But it definitely happens. And so I am all for angles. What I am not necessarily keen to are personal. So.
Yeah. And I think the thing about angles, right, are things that angles can transcend battle rap. Like bars can too, certain bars, certain haymakers, but in terms of like angles, especially ones that like can tell a story or whatever, there's been countless times I've seen Clips third, Golden Wall Star, Hitman or Hitman second, like really, really huge. Averb's third against Hitman. Even your second versus Vixen had a lot of attention outside of the realm of battle rap or whatever. Like angles are what transcends battle rap, because it's not just attacking your opponent, but it's also creating dialogue.
Exactly. Creating
dialogue, which is why a battle like B-Dot and Saga is one of my favorite battles of all time, because it's not just about these two black individuals, black men, tearing down one another, but they're also building each other up by facilitating a conversation, and also on top of that, educating many people about Pan-Africanism, about Christianity, and how they are intertwined and they're not that much different from one another.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the fact that it's still a prominent thing in battle rap. But that was our Rappers Pentagon segment. Really enjoyed that segment. We're about to take another small intermission. This time we're going to look into Loso's 2020-2021 run. We're going to show you a couple of clips of that, some of the things that he was able to do in that run, and then we'll come back and do our flower segment. So watch this clip really quick.
And when it comes to you, pounds just ain't trending topics.
Let me guess, you cats in body since kindergarten, you've been the hardest.
But B trying to turn a new leaf in life. Your friend is conscious.
Don't you know that putting your circle around Dot makes him a target? What? See him? They wouldn't recognize him for the boss he is. So the big plan to strike gold was joining Wild, and now Cannon crossed him off the list because he was poison, and there was never any chemistry between us and Nick. You see how hard that is? To negotiate her bag price. In a way, it's class, but it's really trash. Like, she gets on stage, swag, but in the back, light. She talks to Swave, mad, but talks to Pat, nice. In front of Jay, black, but in front of Smack, white. I'm angry, bills are piling up because my mother is sick. I'm angry, my best friend got shot and now I'm suffering with the fact you still got Steams by your side and my brother is missed. I'm pissed.